maybe or in any programming language you are comfortable in. So sampling strategy जे आपण क्लासमध्ये घेणार आहोत नेक्स्ट टू नेक्स्ट वीकला एक अजून 4 लेक्चर्स आहेत त्याला. त्याच्यानंतर प्रोबॅबली आपण नेक्स्ट वीक 2 लेक्चर्स ऑक्टोबरला तर 2 तारखेला सुट्टी आहे. सो विल डू इज विल डू दिस ऍक्टिव्हिटी ऑन 7th ऑक्टोबर. कम्प्लिशन नाही तुम्ही सांगा मी देणार ती असाइनमेंट. सो 14 करूया. सो यू कॅन टेल अदर टीचर की आमची ही ऍक्टिव्हिटी आहे. सो यू कॅन प्लॅन युअर अदर सब्जेक्ट डेट्स, राईट. Then the next one is quiz. Quiz is the independent activity to be carried out by independent teacher. So I have decided to take quiz. 5 marks त्यांनी टीचर्स वर सांगितलेलं आहे की टीचर तुम्ही तुमच्या पद्धतीने घ्या. सो क्विज इज फाईन. सो ऑनलाईन MCQ बेस्ड क्विज इज देअर फॉर 20 marks. सो फर्स्ट 2 युनिट वर आपण घेऊया. सो विल डू इट ऑन 28 ऑक्टोबर. 28 ऑक्टोबरला पण दिवाळीचाच आहे तो पिरियड. लेट अस मेक इट ऑन नाही 4th पण नको कारण 4th पण लगेचच येतो ना. यू टेल मी. ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स tell me the dates if you are not comfortable in. Okay. The problem based learning, that we will cover it in the class itself. Some problem will be given to you and accordingly you have to understand the problem and solve the problem from your side. So again the rubrics are there and I think we'll keep this activity in November. Please आपण थोडंसं लवकर घेऊया. फर्स्ट युनिट वर घेऊन टाकूया. सोपं होईल. मग युनिट टेस्ट ना ते कॉमनली डिसाइड होईल. अच्छा अजून एंड ऑफ ऑक्टोबर इन बिटवीन मिडल म्हणजे सप्टेंबरला सुरू झाले तो एंड ऑफ ऑक्टोबर. मग आपण एंड ऑफ ऑक्टोबर सोडूनच दिलंय तसं. क्विज आपण आत्ताच घेऊया. ऑक्टोबर फर्स्ट वीक मध्ये पहिल्या युनिटवर फक्त. ऑन युनिट 1 30 ला घेऊया. 30 सप्टेंबर. कारण बरेच मुलं अजून जॉईन पण नाही झाले. खूप प्रॉब्लेम आहे.
30 सप्टेंबर नको 10 ऑक्टोबर
7 करून टाकूया. 7 ऑक्टोबर. ठीक आहे. कारण अजून बघू मुलं पुढच्या वीक मध्ये येतील. सो हे टेंटेटिव्हली आपलं शेड्यूल आहे. म्हणजे हे फिक्स पकडून चालूया आणि युनिट टेस्टच्या डेट्स याच्यामध्ये ऍड होतील. हे मी शेअर करणार आहे. डोंट वरी. एक टीम वर आपली एक टीम क्रिएट करणार आहे. त्याच्यात ऑल द PPTs, books and everything I'm going to post. You can refer to that. Okay, tell me the roll numbers or should I write it from the ascending order? पण मुलं बरीच आली नाहीयेत ना. ट्वेंटी 6 ला कोणी तयार आहे तुमच्यापैकी? कोणीच नाही. ऑनलाईन स्टुडंट्स मला आवाज नाही येते कुणाचाच. अभिषेक, प्रतीक्षा,
येस मॅम, यू ऑडिबल मॅम.
येस मॅम.
मला आवाज नाही येते रे तुमचा कुणाचाच. येस, अभिषेक, रोहित.
हॅलो मॅम, एम आय ऑडिबल?
हा, येस 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 येस, नाउ यू आर ऑडिबल. Is anyone interested to give presentation on 26th September? Okay, so the topics would be for the presentation is based on the unit 1, where you have to study the approach or study any simple research paper, or maybe you can study the theory part also. No problem, because we are covering the research paper and its understanding in survey and report writing. So we'll not make it for presentation. Okay, so for this, let me see the syllabus. For 26, I am giving the topic on first unit. Okay, so we have seen different research types. We have seen what is a descriptive type of a research, what is quantitative type of a research, qualitative type of a research. So you have to come up with the computer engineering application under these types and explicitly define how this application is suitable for this type and what is application, explain the application, and if you have the resource which is available with you in support with the application, you have to explain it with that, with reference to that. Okay, so if I'm saying that sentiment analysis is an application of qualitative type of a research. So how it is qualitative type of a research? What are the elements to be considered in the qualitative type of a research which has been carried out sentiment? Who is going to get a benefit once the research has been carried out? So all these things which we have covered in the class, accordingly you have to tell the application. So now you can take the presentation because the topic is not so difficult, right? So take this topic. There are many applications like stock market analysis. We have chat GPT, we have question answering system, right? So think over it and tell me. At least two types, two application you have to cover. Online students,
Yes ma'am, I am ready to do on 26 ma'am.
okay, good.
109.
5109, Rohit.
Yes.
Okay, tell me the number. 51. है तुमने अटेंड किए हैं मेरे लेक्चर्स? तो फिर आपको बैकग्राउंड है क्या? यू कैन डू इट, ठीक है। अभी रेगुलर आना पड़ेगा 5 to Tell me. 5201. 5211 first name? Ali. संकेत. ठीक आहे, मग आता हे 3 स्टुडंट्स आलेत. पुढच्याच कमिंग 26 तारखेला करायचंय, प्रेझेंटेशन करायचं प्रॉपर. यू आर वर्किंग ना? ऑनलाईन विल डू. ठीक आहे, एकाचं ऑनलाईन आणि 2 ऑफलाईन. रोहित, ऑफलाईन
Yes, ma'am.
घेऊया तुझं प्रेझेंटेशन.
Yes, ma'am.
हा, ठीक. ठीक आहे, मग पुढचं आपण पुढच्या ह्याच्यात घेऊया. टॉपिक मी तसा टाकून ठेवते, थर्डचा रिसर्च डिझाईन हा एक टॉपिक देऊया आपण ह्याच्यात. डिझाईन ऑन स्पेसिफिक ऍप्लिकेशन. तोपर्यंत तुम्ही बघून ठेवा आणि मला नंतर सांगितलं तरी चालते रोल नंबर. ठीक आहे. Not architecture level. You have to just explain the application with reference to the research type. Okay, so justify करना है कि आपको ये कौन से रिसर्च टाइप में आता है. अगर मैं स्टॉक मार्केट का एनालिसिस करती हूँ तो आई एम जस्ट वर्किंग ऑन नंबर्स, तो वो क्वांटिटेटिव हो जाएगा. तो क्वांटिटेटिव के क्या क्या पैरामीटर्स है, कहाँ पे यूजफुल होता है, और कौन से मतलब इस एप्लीकेशन को वो कैसे जस्टिफाई करता है, वो आपको जस्ट एक्सप्लेन करना है. In detail, you can explain the application as well, because we all are computer engineering students. You all are computer engineering students, so it becomes easy for them to understand the thorough application. Okay. So that label has to be there, but it should be in line with the research. Research का parameters उसमें आने चाहिए. Right. So if you have any problem, you can talk to me. You can call me, no problem. Or you can just submit your presentation, mail me the presentation, I will go through it. If any queries or if any changes are there, I will communicate it to you. Okay. ठीक है. Is this clear, online students? Okay. So these are the topics and tentative planning of conduction of our continuous assessment for RM subject. Okay. RTL also, I will send the schedule on the team. Okay. And you can just go through the RTL ka schedule also. We have only two practical hours for completion of the assignment. तो शेड्यूल दिया है वहां पे, उसमें डेट होता है, completion date. So this assignment you supposed to complete on that day, before that day. तो उसका journal submission भी होगा. You have to submit the. Now this is a soft copy you need to maintain for the first assignment. ठीक है. तो इन डिटेल में फर्स्ट असाइनमेंट आपको मुझे एक्सप्लेन करना है एंड अकॉर्डिंगली सबमिशन करना है. सो इट इज कंटिन्यूअस. द सबमिशन शुड बी कंटिन्यूअस. ओके. ठीक है. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट in semester, or this is all about continuous assessment. So let us start discussion on our next topic on first unit, right? What we discussed earlier, and we discussed earlier about the research, objective of research. Then mainly we have discussed about the different research types, right? The research types which is basically descriptive and analytical research, applied fundamental research, quantitative qualitative type of a research, and conceptual and empirical type of a research. Along with this, we have even studied the different types of a research, like the activities to be carried out within stipulated time, if it is continuously research has been carried out, if it has been implemented for historical documents, and also all these other types also we have studied. We have gone in detail of what are the criteria of good research. How do we say that the research which is carried out is a good research? So this all we have discussed last time. Problems also we have gone in detail of it. Today, we'll discuss the research process and then we'll discuss one and each and every component in detail. Okay. So, when you talk about the research process, we supposed to start research starting from the defining the research problem, right? So whenever we define the research problem, what we have to do is we have to first see what is the relevance of this particular problem nationally, internationally. So there's all things which we need require, right? So what we do is we write in the code for the
Never
problem
open.
statement. The next and very important step is that we have to see to it that what is the current research going on in nationally and internationally, and how is the benefit of this research to the community, how the researchers are been using this particular problem statement, or what is the impact of this problem statement worldwide. And later we have to review also previous research findings. Based on this, based on our research idea, what we do is we write a hypothesis. So the next step is formulate hypothesis. So hypothesis is basically a concept where we are writing assumption. Assumption, I have given many examples in my previous lecture. In simple case, the fan is not working. Okay. What I say that the fan is not working because the switch is not on. So this is my one assumption. This is my hypothesis. But the second assumption may be the supply is on, but there is some issue with the internal circuit. So this is my another assumption. So what I'm doing is I'm writing hypothesis. I'm writing certain assumption about the system, right? So this is my next step. When you write an hypothesis, when you write an assumption, what is the next step, which we discussed earlier? We write research questions based on the hypothesis, right? Key, what will happen if I the fan is not working because there was a problem with the electric supply. This was my hypothesis. Right? The research questions that the electric supply, due to the electric supply, the research, or what is an impact of all these parameters. So in a way, you write the research question. It's my next step. After the third step, which is the bio formulated hypothesis. Okay. Once you do this, you have a research idea, you have a research questions. Now, अभी मुझे क्या करना है? I wanted to see design my research. Research design करना है, right? So in research design, I have to first see to it that whether I have sufficient data samples available with me or not, right? Last time we have taken the example of finding out what is the smoking
Hello.
percentage in Maharashtra in 20
हाँ
to
वैसा ऑफिस
30
बस जॉब
age
होता है
category. So
वर्किंग
what we have to do is we have
इंडिपेंडेंटली.
to take a huge amount of so the data to be taken into consideration of entire Maharashtra state, which is
हाँ
not
चालेल ना.
possible, right? So what we do is we take into consideration only sample. We take a sample. We take a sample from Nagar. We take a sample from
हाँ
Baramati and all,
चालेल की.
and then we test our hypothesis on it. Ki what
पूछ लो मैं.
is the ratio over in Nagar district? What is
मैं
the
अभी मेरे
ratio in
इंश्योरेंस शिफ्ट होने वाला
Baramati
हूँ.
and all? And
आपका आनंद है ना.
accordingly, we'll revise our hypothesis. So
मैं रूम पे ही रहता हूँ, मैं आ सकता
design,
हूँ.
research,
आसपास
collection
रूम
of
ले
the
सकता
data,
हूँ इधर.
and design. So if I'm saying my hypothesis is that girls' percentage of smoking is more than boys' percentage, it's my one hypothesis, एक assumption. तो वो मुझे test करना है on sample data. If I test the sample data, accordingly I can change my design. So that's the analysis of the population. Okay? So I can have the design accordingly. Once you do it, your analysis of your testing of your hypothesis, what you do is you write a report, you interpret and write it. So these are all components which is involved in the research process. I'm telling same thing again and again to you, but in a different context, right? We are adding multiple elements while explaining or while getting in detail of these steps of research
हाँ
process.
चलेगा.
Understood? So this is very important. So we are going to see one by one in detail. Yeah, the last step is very important. These
ठीक है.
elements are not mutually exclusive, not
तो
separate,
फिर
not
इंटरव्यू के लिए
distinct.
कब आ सकता हूँ.
So what I'm saying that I'm not having these are independent components. These components are
आज
entirely
से कब
related
सकता
to
हूँ,
each
मैं
other,
रेडी
and
हूँ.
this has to be performed in a sequence only. Okay, so we cannot
11 बजे तक.
exclude any of the step of a research process. These are all the component of research: title, introduction, statement, literature review, objective,
ठीक.
hypothesis. Majority of part we have discussed in the previous lectures.
ठीक.
Design, conceptual framework, report writing,
वो इसका
financial
बन.
assistance required, conclusion, select,
हाँ क्या है ना.
bibliography. This we
कैनिवल
will see to it
कंस्ट्रक्शन
later
ठीक.
on. Let us start with the first step,
वहाँ ऑफिस बाय का काम था.
which
चाय
is a
पानी साफ सफाई कर लो.
writing a research title.
ठीक.
Okay. Now,
हाँ वो मैप पे देख के आ जाता. ओके.
so if I'm writing my research title, or I have identified certain research, certain, I mean to say that domain for which I'm going to do the research, which I'm going to develop something, the product. Maybe in the company you have already defined idea. You have to just work on the idea, right? But what is my idea? How do I write a problem statement
जिन
based
जिन
on
से
the
हो गए.
idea? The first one is that it should be precise. I cannot write it in general terms. Okay, so it has to be, it should be defined in a way that the scope is, the scope should get reflected from your problem statement. It should be clear, should be very specific, and should be catchy. That attractive ness has to be there, because otherwise no one will go through your research work, right? Because research, whenever you read research papers, there is a statement based on the problem statement, based on the title of a research paper. You start reading the research paper, so it has to be very attractive. Now, yeah. For example, can I have a specific, suppose I'm just, uh, I have a problem statement where I'm working on finding out the COVID-19 sentiments, COVID-19 vaccine sentiments over throughout the India sentiments, and whatever the sentiments or whatever the comments which I'm receiving from India. I'm trying to analyze those sentiment and come up with our analysis that whether the people are positive about COVID-19 vaccine or not. It was an initial research. This is the problem statement. But is the problem statement precise? Is scope is defined in the problem statement? No or yes? No. Why it is? Why no? I want a specific answer. Ankit, what is your point? Okay, that's one point. So what we'll do is we'll write using Twitter comments in my problem statement. We'll handle this problem by writing the sentiment analysis on using Twitter comments. So Twitter को हमने define कर दिया problem statement पे. This is one thing. What is another point? Sorry.
Surveys and feedback form.
Okay, yes, that also we can
Yeah.
take into consideration by taking feedback from the certain government agency to the, I mean, from the people, citizens, and we can work on it. So Twitter comments as well as feedback. Okay. What else? That we need to write it in the problem statement itself. Strategy, you mean to say. Okay. Yeah, that's also a good point. Region. So here, yeah, that we have to be specific. You can write it in India using Twitter comments and feedbacks. Now, strategy is also another important element where you can write it using machine learning or maybe using specifically supervised learning approach or maybe unsupervised learning approach like this, or maybe using NLP as well. What are other points? जो majorly we are ignoring. एज ग्रुप आपण एज ग्रुप नको ठेवूया कारण we cannot take the age component from Twitter comments or personalized characteristics आपल्याला analyze करावे लागतील. So that is not important.
Type of vaccine.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Type of vaccine. Type of vaccine.
Type of vaccine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, type of vaccine. Uh, we are not actually working on the exactly what is the vaccine type and what are their analysis. We are just working on the sentiment on the COVID-19 vaccine, general. I mean, not specific. Time period is there. Yeah, that's also a good point. Certain period, like because nowadays, if you do this survey, it's of no use. So earlier, let's say March 21 to December 21, or maybe like that. So yes, period we need to define and should be part of your problem statement. What is other point? So in India, we do have many regional languages. People are commenting in like Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati. They are not, I mean, they're writing their comments in the regional languages also. And that's very important point to take into consideration. So if I'm just working on English comments, statement itself. Otherwise, the scope is not, I mean, the clarity of work is will not be taken clearly from the problem statement. So there are four components very important: precise, clarity, scope need to be defined, and it has to be attractive. So you can write AI driven, something like that, or maybe uh, machine learning based sentiment analysis or NLP based, something like that. So this is what is expected in the problem statement. There are few examples also given. I don't know, it is not clearly visible. I read it. In the first statement, in the title, which is mentioned that a study of implementation of data mining techniques for effective crime and criminal investigation. So, a study of implementation of data mining techniques. So, a study of implementation. This is not correct way to define it. So how do I write it? I write it an implementation of data mining techniques for effective investigation of crime. Whatever implementations are being done, then I have to write it in a study of Satara and Pune district because I'm defining the scope. Otherwise, it becomes very general. So, आपको whenever you are writing a problem statement of your seminar work or of your survey report, you have to be specifically write in the problem statement. Another way of doing a problem statement. The first one is simple way: financial and operational performance analysis of mergers and acquisitions in Indian bank sector, a survey, a study. While if I write it in the attractive way, it becomes as analysis of mergers and acquisitions in Indian bank sector in post-liberation era, an exploratory study. So this way we have to be very specific and write it in the attractive way. Or you can write it impact of mergers and acquisitions on performance of Indian bank in post-liberation era. So what I mean to say that be specific, write the least number of words and write it in the attractive way. Okay, so four components you always have to remember: preciseness, clarity, specific, and attractive way of writing the problem statement. Understood the first step? Okay. So the second one is called as a second topic or second element of my research process is writing the introduction part or writing how describe the research problem, right? So whenever I'm describing the research problem, what I have to do is I have to first explain what is the problem which we are handling in the research work. So that comes in the introduction part, right? So introduction में what is your research problem? How you have introduced to the children research problem, covering what is the origin of it, what is the meaning of it, purpose of it, development of international, national, regional, and its present status. So जब भी आप कोई काम कर रहे हो, you have to write कि what is its motivation behind study of this research work. So for that purpose, what is the current status? What is the impact in the society? If you have some statistic over it कि earlier COVID-19 की वजह से इतने लोगों की डेथ हो गई थी, because of which we are going to implement or we are checking the impact or analyzing the COVID-19 vaccine sentiments. So this way you have to come up with some statistic which lead to the motivation behind your study. So that clarity or that understanding should be reflected in your introduction section. The very idea of this component in the research proposal is to understand or give a view of a research problem to the researcher, because the researchers are reading your paper, the contributor are reading your paper, so you have to help them. You should help them by providing the detailed idea of your research work. So the second section is very important. Over here, even you can define some of the terms which are uh, uh, which are necessary. For some definition part may be there, some explanation of some mathematical components may be there that you can add it in the introduction section. So I think I will stop over here. In the next lecture, we'll start with the majority statement of a problem and research design. In the Monday's lecture only, परवाच आपलं lecture आहे. ठीक आहे. RTL नाही ना दिलं मी, सॉरी RTL आहे दिलं. This I don't have any sample presentation. It depends on your agenda, first slide, and then the next slide will be your application. Then type of a research, explanation of your application. There is no any template is there. The same template you can refer to it. I mean, introduction. No, today's data. Yeah, agenda you have to write first. Table of content agenda में आएगा, and then one by one. Types of research. तो types of research अगर आपने लिया quantitative, explain that. Quantitative में which application you are saying that it is coming under it. Explain the application and explain the just relevance to the research type. That's it. Take two application. And what are your findings? That you can write it in under the heading of major findings or major observation. You can give any recent study का भी आप example दे सकते हो. But whenever you are referring something, you have to cite it. अगर आप कोई research paper use कर रहे हो तो उस cite करो. I will tell you how to cite it. I have already मैंने क्लास में लैब में ऑलरेडी बताया है, scholar.google.com पे आपको जाना है। एंड देन सपोज आई एम सेइंग सेंटिमेंट, sorry, no, what I am saying that suppose you are referring to this paper, तो साइट करने के बाद you are getting these all notations, so you can refer anyone, MLA, these are all standard notations if you are using latex में आपको करना ही है MB के PG के स्टूडेंट्स को, so this is what a reference which you have to add it in your PPT, label it 1 2 3 4 और जो आपने किया होगा BE में। Online students, tell me number. CE students 5108,
Yes, ma'am.
5109.
Yes, ma'am. 5108.
Yes. 5109 रोहित आणि कोण आहे अजून 5112 सौरभ, offline students, sorry, online students from data science 5212 Abhishek, 5203 Pranav, 5210। ठीक है, डिफरेंट टॉपिक, नॉट ओनली सेंटिमेंट एनालिसिस, कोई भी कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग का एप्लीकेशन देना है। Stock market analysis, I have given few examples, can pick up any two, but रेफरेंसेस उसमें आने चाहिए, सो लास्ट स्लाइड रेफरेंसेस का होना चाहिए। Okay, I'm ending the class now, online students।
हाँ बाबू। Okay. Okay.